What's good, everybody? This is Preston, lifelong adventurer and travel YouTuber.
And I'm Ryan, the travel photographer, here to capture moments worth saving.
And this is Adventures with Pictures podcast, bringing all those travel tips,
horror stories,
and just all-around travel experiences. This is your podcast to soften those travel blues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Now let's get started and hear from our guest today.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Preston, aka Mr. Travels, and this is another episode of Adventures with Pictures. And once again, Ryan is on travel right now, so it'll just be me. And I have a lovely special guest, Michelle, the wanderlust mom. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I'm glad you came on the show. So, how's your day, your weekend been going?
Fabulous. You know, it's been beautiful here in the Washington, D.C. area where it's, it's spring. So it's perfect weather. It's perfect time to get out. With the pandemic, it's been kind of rough. So it's good now to be able to just kind of go out, be out in the sun, just explore locally, because I'm doing a lot more of that just because we can't travel as much. But it's been good. Just a break in the weather has been good for my spirit. And I'm sure it's been good for a lot of your viewers' spirits as well.
Yes. So like I said, I totally concur with that, because literally I was like, man, it's raining every day. I was like, what's going on? And then it's like, it could be 70 yesterday, then today be 50. I'd be like,
listen,
come on, spring, I need you to do that.
Just come on with it. But it's global warming. This is like a thing for real.
It is a thing for real. If people don't believe it, I'd be like, I need you to pay attention.
Yes, it's definitely a thing.
I know, you can say in the DC area, I wish things, I don't want to say I wish things would just open up, but, as a traveler, that a person that's used to traveling internationally more than, say, domestically, it's been tough, especially like local travel, because a lot of things are actually still kind of closed. Like,
oh, absolutely.
When I had to research just like museums and things of that nature, all the Smithsonians are closed. I'm like,
they're still closed.
Man, when y'all gonna get open? I'm like, hey, I understand what's going on. I get that part. But I'm like, can you just say, man, let 15 people in today? Can you let 20 people in tomorrow?
Right.
Anything,
right.
Just anything would just really just pacify me until I'm able to actually just be let loose on the world again,
This is true. No, I'm totally with you. And it's interesting because a friend of mine just said the same thing, like, maybe we should take the kids to the museum. I was like, the museums aren't open yet. They're not, but I think the world is still trying to figure out what to do, and you can see that. It is evident when you look at these museum websites or some of these restaurants. It's evident that there's still a lot of things closed because people are still unsure of how to handle the masses when they start coming. Which is perfect. Springtime. So for me, I'm trying to use this time to explore more outdoor things. Like, I live in the DMV, but I haven't really done a lot in this area, if I'm being honest. So now this year I'm looking to venture out to some wineries, really get into the DC area, try to see some, some artworks, do some of the local, street art tours, different things in this area that could sustain me until I can really get back out there to travel again. Because there's a lot to see here. And the springtime is the perfect time to see these things in this area, at least for me. Spring, summer, but spring is a really good time. It's beautiful, the flowers, the cherry blossoms, perfect.
Yeah, that is, hey, everything you just said, I really do understand. I'm like, yes. Because outside of Adventures with Pictures, the podcast, I have my own travel YouTube channel that I'm trying to get off the ground and, trying to work that brand, that angle. And it's like, damn, I can't travel, So it's like, but I still need content. So yes. It's almost like, I'm like really getting into Google. Like, me and Google are like best friends. We're almost dating at this point. I'm like, yo, I am on your back every day. Like, show me something. So yes. I really, for the last couple of months, I have been doing a lot of stuff locally. A lot of, I don't know if you're into historical stuff like that, but like I've been going to a lot of like Civil War battle museum type stuff. But all those are like wide open because it's outdoors.
Because they're outdoors.
So I just had to get like, you know, creative on that level. And there are ones and twosies, like actual indoor museums that are open. So like, for example, the Spy Museum is open. So
really?
So I went to the Spy Museum maybe a couple of weeks ago. Also the the African American Civil War Museum, that's open.
Okay.
So they got like limited hours, times, and stuff like that, but they are open. And it's another one that is open. It kind of escapes me right now, but yeah. So I just been kind of doing stuff like that. Like I did the Mount Vernon tour. I went to Thomas Jefferson's Monticello house. I did that tour. I did the Montpelier tour, which is James Madison's house. So like I said, I just been having to get creative and be like, all right, let me just figure out what's open so I can at least feed the machine, like, you know, feed the beast or whatever. So that's what I've been doing. But that's on the Travels of Preston side. But yeah, like I said, there are things to do. It's just like I said, you got to get creative, like the wineries. So
you do. So it's funny because I haven't really done that yet. So I've kind of still been out there. I've taken a couple of trips since COVID, maybe like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Just to get out there, because when you have that wanderlust, it is hard to fill it with just local things. Like you can, I'm able to visit here and do a few things, and that'll, suffice for a little bit. For a little bit. When you have that wanderlust, like there's always, for me at least, there's always an itch. Like I'm ready to go somewhere, like all the time. All the time. And it's hard because a lot of people don't understand what that even feels like. A lot of people are like, what do you mean you're traveling during COVID? Like, I'm being safe. Like, don't get me wrong. You have to know where your limits are, of course. So for me, it was a little different because I had been working the entire time in the field during COVID. So I think that my conditioning happens a little earlier than it did for other people. And I know that sounds odd, but because I was out in the streets in the midst of COVID, watching everything happen, seeing plexiglass come up, seeing signs come, just all of that. I think my conditioning happens where I was used to wearing a mask and socially distancing myself, and all of these things happens really early. Whereas for some of my friends, they might still be having grocery delivered now, So for me, I was going to the grocery, picking things up for the neighbor, do you need something? I'm already out here. So it wasn't so difficult for me to get back out there to see the world. Whereas, now people are starting to move around a little bit more. And again, I'm not moving around as much as I was. So I have to fill those gaps with the local, like we just talked about.
Yeah, I'm totally with you because I work in a certain place where I went to work. Like it was no go home for a couple of weeks or no, like tomorrow, be here tomorrow on time. Thank you. And then, so one of the things is, say, like my wife, she's a critical mission essential worker, but she still got to go home every day. So she went home. She hasn't been back to her office in over a year, but she's still mission essential. Now me, I'm the reverse. I'm mission essential, but be here tomorrow on time. Thank you. So I never left work. So the concept of I'm scared, that left a long time ago. I mean,
the conditioning.
Like, all right, what COVID? Like, all right, so I mean, I'm masked up, gloved up, I'm spraying people. Hey, get back up, But now, 13, 14 months in, I'm like,
where to?
Yeah, like so I just went on my I've been to 2 trips in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I just went to St. Louis. I went to St. Louis for about 5 days. And I just went to New York last weekend. Actually, I went to Manhattan because I've been in New York about 1,000 times, but I've never sightseed. So I was like, this time I'm going there. I want to sightsee. I want to see Manhattan. So what I'm doing is I'm actually breaking down my New York trips into like 5 or 6 trips where I'm gonna try to do like one barrel at a time. So this time I was like, let me go to Manhattan, you know, Times Square, things of that nature. So I just did that for like 5 days, and it was a blast. Like I had so much fun just seeing something new. And that's what, to me, that's what it's about. Just seeing something new, discovering something. Obviously, New York is still a little, you know, especially like say like Times Square. I get to Times Square and it was literally like, oh, everything's like pretty much shut down. I was kind of upset about that because like everybody kept telling me, hey man, go to Junior's, get a cheesecake.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. Both locations in Manhattan were shut down. And I was like, okay. And then so I actually asked a police officer, I was like, hey man, you know, what's going on? Like, and he was just like, oh man, if you want Junior's, let's go to Brooklyn. I was like,
Brooklyn.
So I was like, and I wanted to go. And I was like, nah, because I'm just doing Manhattan. I want to stick to my Manhattan thing and just do that. So I ended up getting Junior's at the airport. So I was like, when I was leaving, I was like, oh, they got a Junior's. Well, let me just get the cheesecake. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Junior's is off the hook. I was like, if there's anything better as far as cheesecake wise, I need to know. Because this right here, I told my wife, I was like, babe, that's probably the best cheesecake I ever had. And I love cheesecake. And that, man, it had the right amount of strawberries and they crumbled some whatever toppings on it. Oh, man, it was delicious. So
yeah, Junior's is money. Definitely the money. So as a New Yorker, I mean, I'm from the Bronx. So, you know, the Bronx and Brooklyn are an hour, 45 minutes away through train. So Junior's like on the train. But if you were driving, depends on traffic, you know, it's New York. So it could be 20 to 40 minutes. So, you know, but Junior's definitely a staple. And when you do Brooklyn, I think you'll appreciate it at that point because there's each borough has its own culture.
Yes.
You know, each borough has its own culture. So when you do Brooklyn and you put Junior's in that, I think you'll appreciate it more for sure.
Okay. Well, like I said,
for sure.
I can't wait to do it. I'm actually looking at when the next time I'll go to New York. But I'm like, I don't want to just be like New York. I got to sprinkle some other little trips in there.
Of course.
I have like Boston coming up in a couple of weeks that I want to do. I got Cali coming up because I've never been to LA. Things of that nature. I just want to like I said, right now I'm just doing domestic travel. And
of course.
I'm fully vaccinated. My wife gave me the green light. She's like, hey, you're fully vaccinated.
Do it.
And you can do a little bit here and there. Don't go out the country, but do stuff domestic.
I know.
So I said,
that's the hard part. That's the hard push for me because I'm definitely more of an international traveler. Like, I mean, it's tough because, you know, it's tough. It really is tough. We've done some things. So I do momcations. I do a lot of trips solo.
Yeah,
and then, oh, go ahead. No, I'll wait for you.
Well, I'm saying like, because I didn't even answer my first question. I mean, it's just I love the dialogue that we're having right now.
Of course.
But I didn't want to cut you off though, but I was just like, yeah, that's one of the things one of my questions. But
let's do it.
Okay, so like, well, my first question is, how did you get started? Like, you know, how did this whole brand come to fruition?
So there are multiple pieces. A little bit about what I had spoke about earlier. So I went to high school in Jamaica. So I mentioned that my roots were from Jamaican roots, but I attended boarding school in Jamaica in the West Indies. So a New Yorker, you know, so used to the concrete jungle, having to go off to Jamaica and experiencing Jamaica, not what people see. You know, there isn't that, you know, the resort feel. This is more washing your clothes by hand. So like, I'm a New Yorker at this time, you know, and I'm like, literally like, there's no washing machine. There's no, you know, I was in a boarding house. I was 13 years old. My mother sent me away. Okay. So while there, I met a lot of other students that were from other countries.
Okay.
Funny enough. So, you know, this boarding school was more of an elite type boarding school. So it wasn't one that the locals had access to unless they worked for Alpart or most of the other large companies there. But it was where you found a lot of Jamaicans that moved abroad, wanting to send their kids back to experience that, the rigor, the structure, those types of things. So that's kind of how I ended up in Jamaica. From there, met so many amazing people from different countries. And in doing that, then it became well, where do you live? Oh, you're in Canada? Oh, wait, you're in the Bahamas? Oh, okay, well, maybe I'll come and visit. Like, then it became this passion for travel at a very early age. So fast forwards, I've been traveling again for years. I can't even put a number on it, really. Whether it was just small trips to Jamaica here and there, or just visiting other friends in other countries, like I mentioned, from high school. So most of those friends are like my day ones. So we still travel either together or, I'll just go out and visit them. So fast forward to me starting this brand, the Wanderlusting Mom, a lot of it was based off of my love for travel. I am a wanderer by nature. I love to explore. I love local culture. I love experiencing just the local aspect of travel, really, getting to chat it up with the locals, the different architecture in different countries, just all of it, every single piece, the experiences of something new. Anything, the food, every single piece of it, I absolutely love. But I'm also a mom of a 10-year-old. And it makes it difficult to travel the same way that I traveled before she was born, because now I can't, it's difficult. I'm not going to say I can't just run out and travel as much as I would want to. I just don't want to leave her. I'm her mother, right? And though she has her mom and her dad, and we're a happy family, it's important for me to be here, for us to be here as a family, and for me to not gallivant all over the world, right? So,
You good? Oh, okay.
Right. Because sometimes I just want to be like, all right, you think can I just sneak out for a little bit? So, then to add another piece to that, I had a lot of people in my village. So my mom village that would always ask, like, how are you? Like, what is this passion that you have that I don't understand? And like I'd mentioned before, it's difficult sometimes for people that don't travel, and I don't want to say don't travel regularly, right? Just don't travel at all. It's difficult for them to sometimes understand the passions that you have when when it's wheels up, when you're exploring, or not even just that for me. When I'm researching another country, the passion to prep for another trip, like I'm in a whole nother element, I'm just, you know what I mean? Like I can do anything. I can move mountains at this point because I'm excited about what I'm about to see. So I'm in a few communities where people understood that, but they don't. The people, a lot of the people in my circle, even family, they don't understand why I love to travel like this and how. So you're just gonna leave for 6 days, you're gonna leave for 8 days, you're gonna just leave and but they don't. So, so this brand really is more of a, how do we normalize? That's kind of where we're going, where I'm trying to go with it. How do we normalize this, like momcations, like moms taking a moment for themselves, right? Sometimes you might want to have your kid in tow, and I take my daughter sometimes. We have family trips sometimes, but how do we normalize fitting in momcations? How do we normalize that self-care piece that I know as a mother, as a woman, that I need for myself to be my best self for my family? How do I make that a thing where people can actually see these adventures and come, see some of the pictures that I've taken in some of these places and want to do similar things for themselves? They don't have to travel abroad for this. It could be something local, could be anything, but just how do we take that time for us as individuals, as parents, just separate from your partner, to fill your cup if that's what your needs are. And that's kind of, for me, my needs are filling my cup, because travel, I feel, to me, is my self-care. Like to me, it's going out and seeing the world, and my family would want to do similar things, but certainly not as much as I desire.
Yeah, like it's very few people in my family. I probably count on one hand that really, really into travel. I'm like I said, you might got somebody that, every once in a while, sparingly, oh, okay, I might go. But hardcore, go at it, no. Like I have given up like all my hobbies for travel. I was like, oh, I was into motorcycles. I mean, I'm still into motorcycles, but not to that extent anymore. Like
Right.
now, I'm like, all my dollars are going to this travel. Like any little bit of money, like I get, hey, this is going to the travel fund. So
Right.
I completely get what you're saying. I guess might as well be a dadcation because, because it's like it's the same. Like my wife is not as passionate as I am as about traveling, and
Right.
she definitely ain't going solo. This is not her thing. But I'll go anywhere. I'll be like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I tried to bring, so like, okay, just a little background. So my wife and I, we have 5 kids. So
Oh wow. Okay.
us 7 ain't going everywhere every single time because we're rich. So luckily, my kids really are not into traveling. I'm looking at y'all like, you sure you my daughter? So yeah, like so my older kids, they go all the way from 4 to 16. And my younger 2 kids, like I said, there's 4 and 6. Oh, well, you don't have a choice, you gonna come or whatever the case may be. But my older ones, I kind of be like, all right, I'm gonna give you the option. Yeah, because I don't want to force it on you. Then we get there, then you holding up my travel, then you messing up my experience. Because I get it. If you're not passionate, then it's not going to hit you the same.
Absolutely.
So even like I won't travel with certain friends, and they might be a good friend of mine, but I know I don't want to travel with you because one, you're not going to be as touched as me. Like I'm going because I'm actually genuinely interested. Like I'm like, yo, that's the pyramids, man. Like you see, like I'm ready to cry, and they like, all right, man, take the picture. Let's roll. Oh man, let's sit here and take this in. Like,
right.
That's the type of people I need to be immersed around, whatever. So I only got a couple of friends that are like that. I got one best friend. We went to high school together. We've been like friends for over 20 years now, and he's starting to pick it up. And I'm looking at him like that one tier, like that Denzel, glory tier. I'm looking at him
like you got it.
Yeah, you got it, man. You started because I didn't catch the travel bug until I was in the military. And due to the military, I bounced all over the place. I got to live in Germany for 3 years. I lived in South Korea for a year. So I got to travel to these different countries. And I was like, when I went to Germany, my friends were like, hey, you coming home? No, I see you in 3 years. They like, 3 years? Yeah. And I was like, if I got leave, I'm going to another country. I'm taking my family. I'm dragging them around like Europe. And that's what I did. Like every time we had free time, I literally was like, yo, I'm going to England. I'm going to Ireland. I'm going to Portugal. I'm going wherever. And they just couldn't understand that. So I was finally able to convince my best friend Earl, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and actually 3 years ago. And I was like, yo, man, I'm going to Africa. I know you've never been out the country. That might be a little scary because most people, when they say I'm going somewhere for the first time, is Jamaica or something international, but it ain't like 12 hours away. So or they go to Europe and I'm gonna go to France. Okay, cool, whatever. So I was like, I'm going to Egypt. I'm going for 2 weeks. Me and my wife are going. No, we're going for our anniversary. I don't mind if you and your wife come. So him and his wife talked about it. It was like, cool, I'll go. I trust you, man. You always traveling. You're not gonna lead me to some, some crazy place. That's all right. So he came. It was a big adjustment for him because he is used to people wearing gloves, hair nets, just they look like they might wash their hands every single time, So I was like, look, man, you got to let some of this stuff go. Because he was like, oh, I'm not eating that. Oh, I'm not doing that. Oh, you see that guy over there? He's not doing. I say, man, look, we're in the back of an alley. Like, dude, like this is how the country is not developed like America. So you can't come in here with that American mentality and expect like, whatever you're gonna expect. So after about the 4th day, at this time, people start getting hungry. Oh, he was like, oh man, give me that food, pass that over here. And then next thing I know, he out here trying pigeon, and I was like, my man out here eating pigeon. Look at you.
Look, there goes that tear. That one tear was coming down again, like.
Hey, I'm telling you. So right after that, I mean, I don't think we was on the way back, and he was like, "Yo, man, me and my wife, man, we already planning trips to like Belize and Costa Rica and South America." I was like, "Oh man," I said, "See, now you know what I'm talking about." So since that, he's been to Belize. He went to Panama. So he went to Belize and Panama so far. Those are 2 other countries that he's been to. But he had plans for last year, and obviously, the pandemic. But
right,
he's in it to win it. He's already talking about trips for next year, and I'm just like, I'm glad he didn't lose his spirit. Like,
right.
When he was catching his stride, the pandemic. So I was like, all right, man, I don't want it to leave you. But like I said, everything is like that, so whatever, like that. So like I said, I understand everything that you were saying. Like, and I think it's awesome that you're taking your daughter. Like, is she as passionate as you or getting there?
She is. So the other piece of this momcations is a mommy and me-cation. So what happened, she is in the 4th grade. So in kindergarten, I put her in a Spanish immersion program. So she is bilingual. Yes. So what we started with in kindergarten was, all right, I'm not really hearing her speak Spanish at home, obviously, because we don't speak Spanish, but she's learning something. So how do I expose her on a regular basis, or at least for a little bit at a time, just to kind of see what she knows and to develop that conversational, that piece that isn't developed in school. So it started off with trips. We would take a group of people. Our first trip had, there might have been maybe 10 of us, 12 of us. So it's a mom and their child, right? Mm-hmm. And we took them to Cuba. That was that wasn't her first international experience, but her first Spanish speaking country was to Cuba. Okay. And then I took her again with some friends. So it was maybe 10 of us. So every year for spring break, that is the focus for them specifically. So she may get a family trip. So we do a family trip together. She'll get a mommy and me-ish trip where she'll go to a Spanish speaking country. She gets to practice for a little bit. And then, then maybe she'll do another trip with me or something like that. So far, but we've taken her, she's gone to Cuba, she's gone to Colombia. I've taken her to France. She has this spring break. So 2 weeks ago, we went to Guatemala, which was, Guatemala. It wasn't even on my list, but there's so many gems there. Like, there's so much to even talk about. There's so much there. And I only chose Guatemala because she was studying volcanoes. Okay. And I was like, all right, well, Guatemala has tons of volcanoes. It was perfect, and a perfect spot for children, for perfect location for children to be immersed in the language. But not you don't have to be a Spanish speaker, obviously, to navigate through Guatemala, because that's where a lot of Americans or people in general go to learn Spanish. So their English is very good there as well. So it's definitely a spot where if you were planning to take the family and you didn't speak another language, it's a good place to be able to navigate. Now, do you need to know some stuff? Yeah. But that's what Google Translates for, at least for me. That's what you do. You have to figure it out. Like, I don't go to any country with the expectation of them speaking English. It's not fair, right? So, you have to Google Translate it out, whatever it is, however it works, however it sounds like I may chop it up. I apologize ahead of time, but I do my best. So for her, that's essentially how it started. So now she has that travel bug, like, so you leaving? You really taking a vacation without me? Like, so I can't come with you? Like, no, because there has to be a moment where mom can fill her cup. And then there's a moment where you have the time to go hang out with your friends. Like, she's 10. And for the last 5 years, like, imagine traveling with your besties since the age of 5. Like, come on. Like, who does that? Like, take that time, enjoy that time, right? And then we'll do our own thing. But, so because of that, she has definitely become more passionate about it. Again, it's easier for her to navigate in these countries and to speak to the locals. So I think that that piece for her is solidified, because for me, it's a little different. I'm translating or I'm speaking through Google Translate. For her, it's one-on-one, and she's, having dialogue with little kids that are her age, and she's talking to these kids that are her age and understanding, oh, wait, well, so for COVID, they didn't go to school at all. Or, so just understanding the differences. And that's actually one major thing that we did in Guatemala, not to get off track, but we, in addition to traveling, I have helped her to become more of a philanthropist. So when we visit these countries, a good portion of what we do is usually visit schools. So we want to visit a school. I want her to be able to communicate with these students. Again, this is a little bit of the Spanish piece coming in, right? But also that how do I relate to people in this country that are my age? And that's the biggest piece of travel, being able to relate or understand what someone else is going through in another country. So usually when we go, we will kind of partner with an organization or some company, not company, usually it's a nonprofit that works with students. So we'll go and we'll bring a bunch of school supplies or bring toys, whatever the needs are. So we've done that for the last 4 years as well, too. So she is a small business owner. So a portion of her proceeds goes to supporting homeless shelters or whatever the cause is that she is interested in. Last year, because of COVID, we didn't get to do anything here locally. So we took that money and we brought it to Guatemala. So we partnered with a local organization that pretty much, it's not a school, it's a nonprofit organization that teaches students. So what you'll find in Guatemala and some of these other countries is that, education isn't priority. I know you know that. So some of these students that she got to meet, they either have never gone to school, or if they go to school, they go to some program. So for her, it was like, what do you mean they don't go to school? Like, what do you mean it's not a priority? So in going and visiting some of these houses, what we found out was that these students they had 2 hours of instruction per week, 2 hours. The rest of the time was a packet. Now you said 5 children, right? So imagine 2 hours of their day, 2 hours for the week, is instruction. And the rest of the time they are responsible to complete a packet that has been given to them on their own. So for her, she was just like, it's rough for all the kids everywhere across the board. COVID has been tough for everybody. But as a child, as a 10-year-old, for her to see that in another country, like, wait, I was complaining about Zoom. They don't even have Zoom, So it gives her, the pieces kind of come together a little differently for her. And I love that. Like, I want her to be able to see this. Like, I have this wanderlust. She's going to have it, because I'm going to expose her to as much as I possibly can. I wasn't raised in a family where we were traveling a lot, were we traveling at all? I went to school in Jamaica, and that's how my eyes were open to travel. My sisters, it's not the same for them. They don't have that same passion. So for me, it's important for me to pull and expose my child, as well as my nieces and nephews, to travel as much as I possibly can, because I think that it's important. It's important to be able to see the world and know that this isn't it. I find that in the area, in this DC area, some people have never even been outside of the state, much less, and they think this is all. And you go to these different countries and you realize how adaptable you have to be. And these are real life lessons that we need to know. And I think it's important for the youth to understand how adaptable you have to be in life, period. You go to these countries, you don't have Wi-Fi. Come on, you're not playing video games. Come on, pick up a book, play outside with the kids, just the things that I think create that global citizen in our children, and to, help them to see and process the schooling that they're getting here on a different level, because they've been exposed to different things. So for me, it's important for her to be able to see that. And now I feel like I've created a monster. So she wants to go everywhere all the time, but where I can, I'll take her. But again, like you mentioned as well, it's tough sometimes to travel with your family, and they don't travel the same way that you do. So those momcations for me are usually times where I may go to a country that I'll take her to, but I'll go for myself. So I get to go and do the adult things. I can do the bars, and I can explore and visit museums and stay longer and do things that I am interested in that might be a little above her head right now. So then when we have these mom and me-cations, she gets to do things that she might do. I mean, we have to compromise, but I do make it so that she gets to explore and do things that are more along her age range. And I also have her be a part of that. Like when we're planning these trips, I'm like, all right, Guatemala. And I'll drop it. And then we'll do a little bit of research. And then I'll ask her, like, well, what kind of things would you like to see while you're here? So it becomes a part of who she is. And it's not really like, we're going here and we're going to this place. Now she's excited, like, oh, remember you said we were going to go to see that volcano? Oh, remember you said we were going to go to the women's co-op and we were going to see how they make the weaving process and how they make textiles, whatever the case is. Like, I try to get her as involved as possible. But again, I only have one child, so, it's a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I totally get it. Like I said, with, trying to buy 7 plane tickets and multiple hotel rooms, or, one big, huge Airbnb or whatever the case may be, is very difficult on my financial level. Especially not like you said, it's not that I can't do it. I wouldn't be able to sustain it or do it as often as I would like to. So
right.
That's why my wife, she allowed me, and I keep her allowed, she allowed me to say, hey, I don't want to, well, because we have 5 kids, I don't want to be like, well, you ain't going unless we all going. So
right.
she was like, hey, look, I know you need to fill this, like how you say, the cup. Hey, go on your trip, do what you have to do, go for a week, whatever, how many days you think you need to go, come on back, report on it, let us know how it was, bring souvenirs, whatever. But so what I did was, and I started this, like I said, when I got out the military, when I came back to Virginia, that I was like, okay, I don't want to just be like, well, I'm not gonna take my kids anywhere because I can't afford 15 plane tickets to China. So I was like, well, let me do local stuff. So I took my kids to like Baltimore for a weekend. I said, hey, even though Baltimore's down the street for me, I was like, no, we're gonna go to Baltimore. We're gonna spend like the whole weekend. So that way, we're gonna eat dinner, we're gonna eat breakfast, we're gonna walk around. I took them to the little harbor they have, the Pierce area. Mm-hmm. I took them to the aquarium, the Discovery Zone thing museum they have. I was just taking them different places like that, and I think they really enjoyed it. And especially my younger ones. But I have a 16-year-old, and I've never been a 16-year-old female, but I'm looking at her like, well, I guess you're just too cool to hang out with dad, and which is fine. I'm like, hey, do your thing. You got a cell phone, so so it's just like I'm still trying to do stuff, trying to get them immersed into a little bit. Like I took them to Philly for a weekend. I was like, hey, we're gonna go to Philly and we're gonna see like some museums, some of that colonial stuff. So I do show them. Now I do have one daughter. That's my third daughter. She's 12, and she likes history like I do. So she gets a little kick out of it. But every once in a while, them tendencies be like, "Nah, damn, I'm good. Just kind of leave me here." I'd be like, "All right, I understand," because I know we was in Europe. They used to get so upset with me because like we went to Rome, and I made sure we got like a central located hotel. So I was like, we can walk in any direction and we can find something, So we get out there. Hey, I'm talking about, I'm up and at 'em. It's 6 a.m. Get up, shower, eat. We out the door by 7.
Oh, they not, no.
They was like, damn, Dad. I was like,
yeah.
Hey, let's go. So I'm getting everybody up, whatever. So we outside, bright and early. And I mean, when I say bright and early, I mean, we usually be outside by 8, 9 o'clock. And so we walking around, and I'm talking about when I say we walk, I'm like, we walking. And that, in Europe, you got them cobblestones. I'm like, hey, you better lace up them shoes and, hey, roll your ankle, somebody carry you, because we're not going back to the hotel. So I was just like, but that's just the military in me. I'm like, you can fight through pain, right? Or like, you still right. Like, you hurt. Which one are you? So yeah, like we did that. I mean, I had them out there all day. And towards the end of the day, I started feeling bad, only because my wife is like, babe, I'm starting to hurt now. I'll be like, all right, well, the wife is starting to hurt.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they was like, Dad, can we just catch a cab? I was like, no. I was like, there's no cabs out here that's going to fit all of us in one cab. So now I have to break up the cab, put a parent over here, a parent in this car. Then we have to make sure we all get to the same location.
Same place.
I was like, it's too difficult. Then it's like, you know, I can put you in this cab, but I can't tell this cab driver to wait for me to flag another cab down because he got. So
that's true.
It was very hard for me to say, let me get two cabs at the same exact time and we both get in the vehicle to drive where we need to go. And I'm like, it's too hard. Now, obviously, like I said, like I drove to Rome. So I actually drove there. So I had my car. So if something was too far, I would just drive my car to the other side. But like, I don't know if you've ever been to Rome, but I walked from the Vatican. I say all the way to the Colosseum. It's a good walk. I mean, it's a long walk. But I was like, I don't care.
Why not?
Like, because even walking through the city, you can find stuff that you wouldn't normally seen or saw or whatever. I mean, you're talking about eateries, little cafes. And to me, that's the romantic side of things. Even though we all are kids with us, I still wanted to be like romantic with my wife. Like, hey, babe, this would be dope to get a little coffee, a little latte or whatever, you know, from this little cafe. Let me take a picture of you drinking, you know, with the cobblestone background. Hey, kids, be quiet. Mommy's in a photo shoot now. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of stuff, you know, that I'm into. And like I said, my wife, she's starting to slowly come around. She got certain places in the world where she's like, don't leave me. You can't go without me. I'd be like, okay. So like, I haven't been to Greece. Plenty of opportunities to go to Greece. But she said, you're not going to Greece without me. And I said,
no, you can't go without her.
So she has literally a list of countries that I cannot go to without her. Now, once we go there, she said, if you want to go back, that's fine. You can go back all you want, but I want the initial
but I have to go.
Things to be, we both experience. Like Egypt, I've been wanting to go to Egypt since I was a little kid. Like, I love Egyptian culture. I mean, I love Egyptian culture. She's like, but you're not going. I got to go with you. I was like, all right. So that's why I was like, well, if I'm ever going to go, I got to do it now. So, so we win. She had a blast and stuff of that nature, whatever. But I know, like, say like South America, she's not big in South America at all. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I'll be like, South America's beautiful.
It is.
Like Colombia and stuff like that. Like I spent like a week in Colombia.
So much culture. So much culture.
Colombia is actually my number 2 favorite country. I love so far. I've been to almost 50 countries. So far, Colombia is like my number 2. Number 1 is Egypt, just because of the culture and just that's something I just wanted to do my whole life.
Right.
So that was like that, whatever. But what is like your favorite destination that you ever been to?
So, gosh, that's a tough one. Man, Colombia is definitely up there for me. And the thing about, like, well, actually, I have a trip planned to go back to Colombia in the ends of June. But I've done Cartagena maybe 3 or 4 times.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, there's just so the Afro-Colombian, the Palenque. Have you done the Palenque? And
I did that.
Listen,
I was in it because
listen, the food, the people, the language, the colonial aspect. There's so much to Cartagena that I loved. I love. And so it's hard for me to say, like, I loved Colombia. Absolutely loved Greece. I loved Greece. Greece is up there for me only because it's so picturesque. The people are amazing. The food is incredible. But in visiting Greece, I went to Athens. Of course, I had to do the islands. I went to Santorini, Mykonos, Crete. So I've done a couple, but so all right. And all right. So number 1, we're gonna say is Greece. We're going to say it's Greece because of the balance of culture, because of the ruins, and it's so much. There's so much to see there as well, too. And because then you can venture off to, the islands, and it's beautiful. It's romantic. It's everything that you need when looking for vacations, depending on how you travel, that is. You can definitely remove yourself off of the grid, which is difficult for me. So I'm the type of traveler, sounding very much like you, where I like to get up and I'm ready to go. Like, I want to see it. I want to explore it. I want to be a part of all of it. And it starts very early. Everyone doesn't like to travel.
Oh, no, you're right.
That way. So, everybody, some people are just like, no, I'm here on vacation. Like, I'm here to stay at the hotel. I'm like, no, I don't even care where I stay, really, because I'm not here for the hotel. I'm here for the culture and the experience. So I only sleep. My saying, and my friends will say it all the time, no sleep till Brooklyn. I don't sleep until I get on the plane. So that's how I work. So when I come back, I'm exhausted, and they're like, didn't you just come back from vacation? It wasn't really vacation. It's more of, I'm out here to explore and wander and see things that I've never seen before. And because you only have a limited amount of time, you're trying to soak it all up, so back to the initial question at hand. I would say Greece was definitely number one. Colombia, definitely a favorite for me. Cuba. Have you been to Cuba?
No, when I was trying to go, I kept putting it off, and then Donald Trump and
yeah.
Right, well.
Cuba is up there for me primarily because it's like a step back in time.
Oh yeah, I seen
and I think that's what it forces you to unplug. Whereas some of these other countries, you can unplug if you want to, right? If you have Wi-Fi, it depends on what service, you can always get a chip. There's different things. In Cuba, no. There's no Wi-Fi. You're going to a Wi-Fi park. You're putting you're buying a little card so that you can access Wi-Fi. You are disconnected. You're disconnected. It has changed during that period in which the 8 years that, the first 8 years that it was opened. And then when Trump came and started closing things down, it affected that relationship. And now, they haven't developed as quickly as they were during the Obama 8 years.
Yeah.
But I'm here to tell you, just the people are so authentic. And because it's such a step back in time, you're almost like, wait, people are still having conversations, sitting on the malecon. Like, this is where, it's where the water meets the city of Havana. So people are just chilling, and they're out there all night, and they're playing dominoes, and they're playing cards, and they're spending time with their family. Not that you don't see that in other countries. We do see that a lot more, but I found that in Cuba, that was the only place where it was like things stopped. Like on Sundays, it's family time. There were religious things, that there were specific things that they did to maintain that their culture, and they didn't get distracted. Like I sometimes feel like we are here, with social media and all that, because they didn't really have that. They didn't have that kind of access. So they cherished the moments to speak to an American like me through Google Translate, Exactly. So you asked my favorite. My favorite would definitely be Greece. And then Colombia and Cuba are like close second.
Okay. Well, like I said, I definitely had that on my radar. I'm gonna finagle my way to Cuba somehow, some way.
Mexico. It's Jamaica.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm get down there. It's just a matter of how I'm gonna get down there.
Right.
Like I said, it's just funny because I'm still laughing internally. How you said, like, you just like me up and at him. Hey, let's get going. And Ryan, I wish he was on here right now, because he is the complete opposite. So Ryan and I, we've never vacationed together, like a real vacation. We've never been on one of these before. And I'd be like, I don't know if I can. I'd be like, because he's like, it's vacation. Let's sleep till noon. Bro, we only out here for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. We got to get it in. But it's vacation. I'm like, bro, take that out of your vocabulary. I'm like, dude. I'm like, I be trying to explain to him, like, why would you pay all this money to go anywhere in the world, whether it be to Vegas, Colombia, wherever, just to be like, well, I'm gonna sleep to 2 o'clock. You could have did that at
Because
home.
that is the thing for some people. When they think of vacation, it doesn't matter how much money they invest in that trip. They want to leisurely move through. So they may want to see 1 or 2 things, but the reality is they want to relax. And that's not a part of my DNA. I'm not a part of that. I don't attend that church because when I go, even when I plan trips, people are like, Michelle, can you slow down? That is the reason why my daughter has separate trips than I do, because I like to go in a manner that is probably too fast for her. Mm-hmm. And, if I'm not sleeping and she's 10, she needs to sleep. Yeah. Like she gets groggy at a certain time. I'm like, let me just get this coffee. Let's go. She can't, I can't just give her a cup of coffee so she has that energy to go. So I have to slow it down for her. And then sometimes I'm not in the mood to slow. I'm just like, but I had this on my list and I had this and I wanted to see this. So, with her, I can't. I just recognize that, all right, so on her trips, we'll see these 3 things. I know that either I have to come back or I go before I take her. So I don't feel that need to, like I'm missing something. Sometimes when you go with your family or, and you don't have childcare or what have you, you can't go to the rum bars or to, certain experiences are not for the children. And I recognize that. So that's why I go by myself. So that's how I actually go. I love solo travel. I've gone, quite a few of my trips are solo because I recognize that everyone doesn't like to move the same way I do. Mm-hmm. And I also find that in solo travel, those trips to me are usually the most memorable, just because by myself, there isn't a distraction of being with someone else where you guys are engaging with each other as opposed to pulling in a local, right? So, when you're by yourself, for me, I'm an extrovert, so I'm always going to be talking to somebody. By myself, I'm going to have dinner alone, but I might meet another couple that might be visiting, or I might meet a local that happens to be working there and they're giving me some insight on the country. I find that when I am alone, I have more of that engagement. When I'm with friends, we're planning the next thing. What are we doing next? So, did you take pictures of so-and-so? Or did you do this? Like it's more of like a checklist of things that you want to get done as opposed to really immersing yourself in that environment and really connecting with the people in a certain way. So that's why I love my solo travel, but I love group travel too. So, everything has its place.
I'm both. I'm starting to learn how to solo travel because, like I said, when I was in Europe, there's always somebody that's willing to go somewhere. And then, like I said, coming out of the military, I've been forced to do the solo. So, when I first got out of the military, I told my wife, I don't want to stop traveling internationally. So she was like, all right, babe, you can do 2 trips a year. Huh. 1 family and then 1 by yourself. So I was like, bet. So that's how I was moving. And then I guess 2 years ago, right before, like 2019, I went on a couple of trips. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna increase this number to 3. I was just like, we just need to, just get the ball rolling on this. And that's what I did, whatever. But yeah, like I said, now I'm just like, okay, I went to St. Louis by myself. I did take 2 friends with me to New York, but it wasn't the same because they have already sightseed all the stuff that I was already there. So they was like, hey man, that's like, oh, okay. I'm like, you don't get the same because you already seen it. So I was like, I respected that. But it did help out as far as taking pictures. I was like, take this camera. I'm gonna stand over here. Take about 5 pictures, so that part. Now solo, I'm still trying to learn how to get good pictures. That's hit or miss.
I got you.
Okay. That's one of my questions too. I'm gonna ask you about that a little later because I'm like, my arm is only so long, man. But yeah, and right before I get to the next question, I do want to bring up, I do understand vacation in the sense of if you're going to sleep in, to me, I would go to a resort. I'm not a resort person, but if I want to say, hey man, all I want to do is sip sex on the beaches, Mai Tais, massages, and pool or ocean, whatever, I'm going to a resort for that. And
yes.
more than likely, 100% of the time, it's going to be with my woman, like my wife. Like, I'm not going with them dudes like, hey, dude, you want to, which is still go, I know, whoever your lifestyle is. But for me, Preston, I'm going to go with my wife. I'm not going to ask my best friend, Ryan, hey, bro, you want to sit on this beach? You stay on this beach all day. I'm not doing that. So I would take my wife, and then that, like, for example, for her birthday this year in June, we're going to Mexico. We're going to go to Tulum.
Oh, I got some places for you.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get that offline. Thank you. Appreciate that. I told her, we're going to get out and about, but I'm not going to be as intense as I normally would with other places. Because I told her I do want it to be like a little bit more intimate, a little bit more special for you. And, things of that nature. I was like, I'm not going to be like 06 in the morning, get up, 06:15, brush teeth, 0:30. No, I'm not doing that. I said, hey, if you want to sleep into 8, 9 o'clock, I get it. And I want you to just, because this is your birthday that I planned for you. So I actually went all out, got a 5-star resort, did all that stuff that I would normally do on a regular vacation or whatever. But I was like, for your birthday, we can do it. So
do it.
And like I said, this would be our first international trip since everything started happening. So she's excited.
She's gonna love it there. You're gonna love Tulum. But you know what? I think it gives both of you exactly what you're talking about. So there isn't a whole lot to do in Tulum, as in explore, right? I mean, there obviously are the ruins and such, and there's Chichen Itza if you haven't been. But as far as taking it easy, that is what it is. Like, Tulum is so magical that it feels like you just want to lay out and just relax. There's something about it. So I think that would be a great trip, a great first trip, international trip for the both of you. And I think that would be a perfect birthday trip for her, because it does provide that, that let's really relax. We're away from these kids. Like, the beaches are there. They're absolutely beautiful. The food is amazing. The drinks are popping, so I think you guys are going to love that trip for sure.
Oh man, she is so excited. And I'm just happy for her, and just in general, just to see how excited she's getting for it. Like, every time I turn around, like, I hear the doorbell ring, I'd be like, man, who out here buying Amazon packages? Oh, man,
she's trying to get these outfits.
Like, that's your dress. Like, oh yeah, that's my 7th dress. I'm like, 7? Oh, those are my heels and makeup. I'm like, all right.
Yes.
I'm like, chill.
Tell her she don't need the heels though. I mean, maybe. It's Tulum, so it's definitely more of a
heels. Like in Greece, like, she always see stuff on the internet when, like, Santorini, all those pictures of them big flowing dresses.
Oh yes.
So she like, I want to do that for Tulum, because I seen Tulum.
You can.
Exactly. So she's like, in her mind, she's getting this whole photo shoot together in her mind.
I am with her. Tell her to come holler at me, because I'm all about the photo shoot.
I was like, and this is what it gets real special. So not only are we going for a birthday, but this is her first time. Her twin they're gonna celebrate their birthday together. So because normally, because her twin lives in New Jersey, and so they never really see each other for their birthdays. Actually, the last time they've been together for their birthday was probably 2014, something like that. So it was a while ago, like 7 years ago. So this is the first time that they probably be together for their birthday, and it's gonna be in Tulum. So it's gonna be a double date type of vibe, because, like I said, she's bringing her husband. So, like I said, we got I made sure, like, this is how, because normally I do everything myself, but I have a friend who's a travel agent, and I was like, look, bro, I want you to hook me up with something dope. I gotta have something that's gonna knock her socks off. So he was like, oh man, I got this one resort, it's 5-star. You got rooms that got private pools and butlers. I was like, give me that. I was like, I don't care how much it costs. Send me the invoice. That's what we're doing. So I got that for her. And it actually worked out, because, like I said, it's COVID and stuff. So
of course,
I don't know how the pool vibe is going to be. It's like, as far as an open pool, but everybody's there breathing on everybody. But I was like, we got a private pool, and it has its own little patio with the cabana thing. So I was like, if nothing else, if you feel like stuff is starting to get out of pocket as far as social distancing, Hey, we can just fall back. I got the butler. We got all inclusive, so we can drink till we. I don't even plan on drinking water. To be honest with you, I drink water when I get back to America. But
that's right.
So I was like, hey, food's all inclusive. I mean, so I said, hey, anytime you feel like things are getting out of control or just not safe, hey, we take it back to the room. Hey, butler, bring this, and this. So I just say I'm really excited. We're gonna be there for a week. So,
I mean, so that I think that's gonna be amazing. I know a couple of photographers in the event that you're looking for anyone for. Yes, and this particular guy, he does the Santorini dresses in Tulum. Okay. Yes, there's a place that actually rents the dresses because that's what they do in Santorini and Bali. You can rent the dresses for just the photo shoot for an hour instead of investing in this extra long dress. Like where are you going to wear it? Otherwise, Yes, but he does that. And he's super dope. I actually met him on this trip. So I went to Tulum 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, and I met some connected with a lot of different people. There's a group that a girl that I met in travel before, she started, it's called Black in Tulum. Have you ever heard of them? So they also put together some really amazing experiences. Like, I mean, they're not like a travel agency or anything, but they started by just creating experiences for expats that move to Tulum, or to Mexico rather, not necessarily Tulum because a lot of them live in Playa, but they started these weekly events, so social hours, and now there's so many people visiting Tulum that it is the way that Black people connect in Tulum. Like it's a whole vibe. Like I did a couple of events with them there, and through them I met a photographer that does exactly what your wife is looking for. So I will definitely make a note to send you that information because I think she would totally enjoy it. And Tulum is it's so beautiful. It's just the whole jungle water like vibe that is there.
Yeah, like
I think she would it's the best place. It's one of the best places I've been for a photo shoot. So I think have a great time.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen all the pictures from everybody. I'd be like, man, that look hard. And like I said, like, my friend, one of my good traveling buddies, he's in it to win it. He's like me, like, hey, we are ride or die travelers. And I'm so sad that we're not together anymore. And I'd be like, I need you here, man. Because he is like, I mean, he's literally my right-hand man when it comes to like traveling. I mean, like he will call me, text me, email me, message me. He'd be like, yo, I just found out this trip. Oh man, I just found out about this city. And we just share information like weekly, daily. And, like he's the one that got me to go to Colombia. It was for his birthday. And we were just like, man, we just started working. And even though it was his birthday, he allowed me to work on it as well. He's like, yo, man, what you want to do? Man, what you want to do? And I'm like, well, it's your birthday. No, man, I trust you. I know you're going to want to see the same things and adventure and get up and get out and, whatever. So, like I said, I miss him. But like I said, but he told me about Tulum years ago because he went like 3 years ago. And I was like, Tulum? I was like, man, I never heard that. And this is before Tulum is Tulum now, like all the Black people go.
Yes.
So he got the experience before, I guess, all the Black people jumped on it, whatever. So now it's like, because I told somebody I'm going to Tulum. It's like, oh, man, you going to Tulum? I've been 72 times. I'll be like,
yeah.
Oh,
it's like Atlanta now.
Yeah, it's
Atlanta. It's only because, so why it got so popular. So of course I have friends that have been traveling to Tulum for the last like 15 years. Like before it was even like is as developed as it is now. Once you go, you'll see that a number of construction and buildings that they're putting up, these condominiums, just because so many people are investing now in Tulum. But it's always been there, and it's always been magical. The people that I know that either live there and have lived there for years have always said, like, there's something special about being here. They don't know if it's just the Mayan culture or, just that whole piece, but there really is something magical about that space that I haven't experienced anywhere else. I went solo when I went to Tulum.
Okay.
And I kind of just ventured out on my own. I rented a car. I just drove all over the place. And and everyone was like, are you crazy? You're going to Mexico. I'm like,
that's the first thought. The show. No.
Right. They were like, well, do you not know that this is Mexico? I was like, yeah, but I'm a New Yorker and I went to Colombia. You know, like I don't know. I don't know. So,
it's a traveler.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely gonna love it. It's like I said, it's not what it used to be. It's definitely everyone calls it like the Ibiza of Mexico. You know, because that's what it is. It can be very, very, very expensive in Tulum now. There was a time where it was much, much cheaper. Now, some of these hotel rooms could be $700, $800, $900, $1,500. Like some of these villas are $15,000 for a 5-bedroom. But I mean, it's very expensive because a lot of the celebrities started dipping in to Tulum because Mexico was open. It was open for the last 13 months, you know, and people didn't want to do Cancun. They kind of wanted to be off the beaten path. And Tulum is two hours away from Cancun. So it's not a far drive, you know, and it's again, it's off the beaten path. If you were trying to get to Chichen Itza, Chichen Itza is 3.5 hours from Cancun. So, you know, and it's just like a little remote town where, you know, it's not very large. There's one-way streets here and there, but it's very expensive now because they recognize the tourists that are coming to visit. So things that might have been free before know that now they're probably trying to charge, some $10 or $20, those kinds of things. To be honest, I know I've met a photographer while I was there. She took photos of me, and she has lived in Tulum for quite some time, and she left. She was like, I can't do it anymore. Really? Because everyone is coming. Yeah, because you know what ends up happening when you live in a tourist city and that's not what you never expected it to be that. Yeah. She's just like, everyone's coming and they want the same exact photos. You know, it's Instagram. Think of Instagram and all these Instagrammable spots. Everybody wants to take a picture on the beach and they want to see the follow the dream sign. And there are certain things that you go to.
That one with the open site deal was.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Stand in line for that.
You got to stand in line or you got to get there at 7 o'clock in the morning. So tell her to get ready. Yeah. Get ready. But that's what this photographer said. She was like, look, I love it here. It's beautiful, but I can't be creative as a photographer anymore because everybody just wants these 5 spots. They just want these 7 spots. So because of that, like I'm being creative as much as I can in these boxed in areas, but you have to get there super early. So in order to get these pictures, I promise you have to get to these spots starting at like 7 in the morning, at least. You know, anything after that, there's a line. And that defeats the purpose of you wanting to get up and put your best clothes on and do these things. You know, what you find is for these photo sessions, I do photo sessions in different countries. You got to get there at 7 o'clock before the people.
It's crazy. See, that's what takes the fun out of it. I'm going to do it though, but you know, I mean, I don't know, I guess this is what it is, whatever. But like I said, I understand if you're trying to get a follow on Instagram, you got to do certain pictures because that's just the norm of things. But also be like, okay, how can I get creative? How can I find like a new spot or just a spot that is not as, you know, imaged or just photographed, you know, so like that.
Of course.
So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna try I'm gonna do what I do. And like I said, and it's one of the things is, since I do vlogging for my own self of the travels of Preston, I mean, I'm just gonna vlog this whole thing. So if there's a line, I'm just gonna be like, look, guys, get here at 06 in the morning, you know, I'm be like, so like, it's like twofold. It's like, it's gonna be for our birthday, but I'm also gonna I'm gonna vlog it and just enjoy the whole experience and just the whole vibe with, like I said, her twin and my brother-in-law. So I think it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be really fun.
Oh, it is.
So yeah, it is what it is, you know, whatever I can
do.
It is. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm about to be photo shooting it too. I'm be like, yo, take a picture of me.
Of course. No, listen. So I think that it's gonna be amazing. Just hands down, it's gonna be amazing. This is something that you've intentionally planned for your wife and her sister for their birthday. It's going to be amazing. It's the perfect place to be. Just know that photo session piece will be the morning activity. It'll be that thing that you get up. Everybody gets up at 6 o'clock, puts their lashes on. You know, they do what they have to do. Yeah, I'm telling you, because it's a situation. You get ready and you do it. You won't regret getting up and having those 2 hours ahead of somebody else. You just won't. Primarily because, like you said, when you pass through those areas later on in the day, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I did it. If you look on my Instagram, I did a reel from Tulum of this is what people, you know, the reality, what do they call it? Instagram versus reality or something. Yeah, because it's real. Like, you get to these places and you just naturally think no one's there. Like, that's what people think on social media, because they see people with these amazing backdrops and they're just like, well, where are the people? Like, you just go and no one's there, but that's not the case. It's not the case at all. So just take that part. Just get there.
Like I said, I am all over it. I'm going to take whatever I can take. And like I said, how you say, if I do miss something, I'll just go back. Like, certain countries, I'd be like, or not say certain countries, certain cities, I could be like, I missed it, but I'm not willing to spend another $1,000 or 800 or whatever to go back. I'm like, I just missed it.
Right.
But like I said, it is what it is. This will be our second time going to Mexico, because the first time we went to Mexico, we went a couple years ago. We went to Mexico City, and we had a blast there. So I know if we love Mexico City, we're gonna love Tulum. So that's just a no-brainer for us. But yeah, so what type of traveler are you? Like, I know on your page, you know, you say, you know, luxury and stuff like that. So, but I'm assuming you do luxury, but you still do like budget wise. Or...
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, my goal is to cater to both, right? And it's hard to do both. Like, I think there are certain budget travelers that just, the budget isn't there to have those luxury experiences. So I generally try to experience both, but because of how I travel, I don't necessarily need a luxury experience when I'm going to Tulum for 4 days, you know, because I'm not there to sit in the hotel room or sit on the beach. If I'm going to Jamaica and I'm going with the family, we're going to have a luxury experience, because we're going to, kind of like what you said with your friends, like, you know, if you're going to spend that time with your family, you might want to just chill out on the beach, have those unlimited drinks, you know. So I like both. When I travel solo, it's usually on a budget. So like, for example, when I went to Tulum, I didn't even stay on the beach. I stayed in the center, so Centro, because it's cheaper there. I don't need to have a beach. I had just gone to Jamaica a couple of months before, and I'm just not a beacher. I don't need to be on a beach all day. I'm an explorer. Like, I'm there. I want to see, I want to touch, I want to be with. So I don't have to be on the beach. So Centro is 15 minutes drive from the beach. And it's, I promise you, like 75% cheaper. So yeah, like literally you can find rooms for like $50 and really nice rooms, you know, like that's what I'm saying. And that's where to me, it's more authentic. You can walk on the strips. There's a strip they call like Fifth Avenue, where it's just restaurants and, you know, taco stands and, you know, just that authentic feel. That's what I love. I can go to the beach and chill out and, you know, do the beach club for a day if I wanted to go to the beach, or walk along the beach strips. But you'll find, and you'll see the difference when you go. It's a huge difference. Like, some people say, if you want that relaxing experience, you should stay on the beach, which I think you guys should. You should absolutely be there and chill out. If you're there for like a week or two and you're looking for both experiences, it's great to stay in the beach and then a week later move over to like Central, where you can experience more of that local feel that you might be wanting to get into as well. Because of the traffic, remember, because Tulum it's a small town, so they're not used to, their infrastructure really can't sustain what's happening. It can't handle this. So there's so much traffic. They're repairing the roads. You know, it's one road in, one road out from the beach road. So these taxis will cost a lot more just going back and forth, where you might as well just stay in one place for, you know, a couple of days and then stay in another place for a couple of days. Just get your fix in both areas separately, even though they're so close to one another. So back to your question, like if I'm traveling by myself, because it doesn't, as long as it's clean and safe, I am totally okay with budget. To be totally honest, as a solo traveler, I generally do boutique hotels. So like really small hotels, just because I'm by myself and I want to know, I need somebody to know if I'm go missing. Like, hey, where's Michelle? I didn't see her today. Because, you know, I'm going to stop and talk to you. You're going to know what I'm doing today.
You don't know I'm here.
You know, you're going to know. Like, oh, how was so-and-so? No, you're going to know because I'm going to stop and talk to you. And you're going to know kind of what I have planned for my stay there. And I feel like you get that one-on-one again, because it's smaller. 10, 12 rooms as opposed to, you know, a resort that might have 45 rooms or 100 rooms where you're just another number to them. So again, it just depends on what my vibe is. If I'm going by myself and I'm just trying to hit the ground running and see what I'm seeing, I just need it to be clean, safe, and, you know, accessible, centrally located, possibly. If I'm going with the family, it's definitely more luxury, you know, let's experience this. We work hard for this kind of situation. So.
Okay. I mean, that's similar to what I am. Every once in a while I might be boots. It depends on where. I have a friend named Brian. He ain't doing no boutiques, I tell you that right now. Off the cuff, he's like, I don't do that. I mean, I got it. I get like, you know, because we make a certain amount of money, we have a certain level of comfort that we have, I worked hard to achieve. So I don't necessarily want to lose that level of comfortness when I travel somewhere, but I'm also not too far off the line. Well, I can't, I try to stay 3 to 4 stars, or 3 to 4 stars. I'm good. You know, I'm very comfortable. Like 3 is like, all right, you know, to me it's like average hotel. And I'm like, I am cool. You know, it got some, you know, it might have a restaurant, bar, you know, it's a little bit of, you know, like a little bit of room service, something like that. If I'm feeling kind of, you know, a little snooty, a little bougie, I'll be like, all right, 4 star, you know, nothing crazy. We ain't killing the pockets to the level of like, ooh, I can't really do too much. But I like to stay between that. Like I've never done a hostel. I told myself I may just do one just to say I've done it.
Right.
Like, the movie kind of messed it up for me. I was like, you know, I don't want to, you know, and it's like, I could sleep in a room with strangers because I've done that in the military, but I really don't like the vibe of sharing bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's what gets me. They ain't just sleeping around. It's like, bro, when I want to use the bathroom to shower or take my time, I don't want to be like, in a minute, give me 5 minutes, you know, no, man, I ain't even trying to be rushed. So, yeah, definitely.
That is it for me as well. I've never done a hostel for that same reason, because I don't like the shared bathroom. Like, bathrooms are very important to me. Before I even travel or stay at a boutique hotel, I have to see what the bathrooms look like in pictures. I'm one of those people. Like, I mean, the space needs to be nice, but I have to see what the bathrooms look like. It's just like my thing. I do Airbnbs as well. I'll stay at an Airbnb, you know. I don't always stay at Airbnbs if I'm traveling solo, just unless they came highly recommended. Unless someone else that I know, the solo traveler, went somewhere and stayed. Yeah, like the safety
of this person has a key to this.
Yes.
Or whatever. Yeah. So.
Right. So, but yeah, for the most part, it's always the bathrooms for me. Always.
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the bathroom for me, but I think unknowingly, I do look at the bathroom. Like when I look at pictures, I'd be like, that's a nice bathroom. I like that. I can get comfortable.
Yes.
It's like, so like, I like the whole, it'd be a glass window or whatever. I know like the hotel we stayed in Mexico City, oh man, it was so dope. It had the rainfall shower, and I was like,
yes.
Oh, I feel like Diddy in here. I was like,
luxury.
I was like, turn the music up. So So yeah, like I understand completely what you're saying, because like you said, especially for a woman, like, you need good mirrors, lighting, and
Yes.
all the things like that. So, because I'd be like, babe, we leaving anytime soon? I'm still getting
like, nah.
I'll be like, all right, cool, whatever. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I understand exactly what you're saying when it comes to the bathrooms or just the feeling safe, especially as a woman. Safety is key. Like I went to Brazil last year, to Rio, and all I just kept seeing is like all these horror stories and people getting robbed, and it really freaked me out because I was going by myself, and that I kind of messed up on the location where I stayed at. Well, actually, I ain't kind of messed up. I messed up because I stayed on the west side of Rio, which is the nice area. That's the area that's built up. That's where they had the Olympics. That's where the real expensive hotel is at. Not hotel, but the malls and stuff like that. So it's really beautiful. I stayed at the Marriott. I mean, it's gorgeous, but it's like 30, 45 minutes back to the actual part that you came to see. So I mean, I was sitting there taking taxis or Ubers, whatever, back and forth. And I was like, man, they killing my. I mean, it wasn't killing my pocket because it was, Brazilian money. It wasn't like it was crazy expensive, but just the time that I was losing getting back and forth because I let all these blogs and forums and stuff like that scare me to the point where I was like, okay, let me stay out here for safety reasons. Now I want to go back to Rio. Well, whenever they clear their stuff up, I want to be like, oh, I know exactly where to stay at now. I want to get, because I'm always a person, I want to come out my hotel and I want to be there.
Yes.
I can walk in any direction, get it in, sightsee, do what I need to do, the whole vibe. So, like I said, I really got to do Rio over. I went to Rio for Carnival last year. And
that must have been dope.
Oh, it was dope. It was super dope. I was like, man, everybody in the streets partying. And I was, like I said, I was by myself. And I was just like, man, I wish I had somebody else here with me, because I could have really let my hair down on that part, because I didn't want to get too intoxicated and, things of that nature. I mean, it's not like I'm a drunk or anything, but it's like, I don't want to be like, let me keep my wits about me and, things of that nature. So I was like, all right, let me just have one or two, drink some water, whatever, keep my eyes open for people. Because there's so many people that's bumping into you, stepping on you, pickpocketing and all this craziness. So I definitely...
I definitely
had a good time. But like I said, it was kind of like, oh man, I wish I had at least one more person with me. So, but it is what it is. Rio's beautiful. I don't know, but definitely got to go if you ever get a chance.
I haven't. It's on my list.
You got to go.
It's definitely, well, I feel like everywhere is on my list, right?
I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. It's on my list to do. So
on my list.
So my next question is, so once you get to a location, what are some of the equipment that you use to capture all these moments?
So I have a tripod that I bring with me. I recently heard about, is it called a Pivo?
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
So I'm going to see if I can find it, but it's like a device that you put your phone into and it follows you. It does like a...
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
That's what So a lot of these trusts, I'm in a lot of different forums, and that's one of the things that I just added to my list. I just bought it. I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm generally a tripod girl, and I am a local photographer girl. So what I will do generally is I will find a photographer before I get anywhere. And it's twofold for me. Generally, I will look through Airbnb experiences. I'm not sure if you've ever done anything through Airbnb experiences or even know that there's a whole site of experiences. So Airbnb obviously has its accommodations, its lodging, but it has a site for local experiences. So if you wanted a local cooking class, or you wanted a local tour guide to just walk you through some of the major pieces, there you will also find local photographers. And sometimes they'll do they call them a photography tour. So they'll take you to all of the spots in that particular city, and they will take your picture. They will either do it with your phone or they'll do it with their equipment and then give you all the pictures.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yes.
Is it inexpensive or is it kind of pricey?
So generally, it depends on the country, but I have done it. I did it in Morocco, and we probably paid like $50 US, and it would be a couple of hours. Yeah. No, it's definitely something to look into. And that's, I feel like it's like a hidden thing. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's definitely a way to get that local experience, because you have a local that's going to tell you about these different places. So it's like a tour, right?
Yeah.
And then someone that's going to take your pictures for you instead of you having to do a selfie and prop up a tripod every time you want to take some pictures. Like, so those are the two. So there's that. Or I will hire a photographer outside of the Airbnb experiences. So for sometimes if they're, depending on the country, they may not have a developed listing of experiences in Airbnb experience. So for Guatemala, there were no experiences. Like there just weren't any. There were Airbnbs, but no experiences.
Okay.
So there I found a photographer. Funny enough, was the same photographer I used in Tulum. She happened to be there around the same time.
Okay.
So for different countries, I'll connect with a photographer and be like, well, where are you going anywhere else? Like, what are you doing after this? Like, what are your plans moving forward? So I kind of scope around. But if I'm by myself, like I went to Chichen Itza.
Okay.
And I didn't have a photographer there. They don't really allow tripods, but I had my tripod in my backpack, and I had it propped up in my backpack, standing out so that I could take pictures. And I'll create pictures, stills from videos. So I'll just, create video and then take the stills from, capture the stills from the video. But yeah, those are my little tricks for photography.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm telling you that one, promise you, those local experiences, listen, those are really like, that is like my hidden gem, the hidden drop of information that I give to people, because those experiences are unlike sometimes things that you would experience on your own. Sometimes you go as a traveler, like you don't know anything other than maybe what you've read in different blogs or experiences other people have had. But those local experiences, again, I've done local cooking classes that way, where I might just go into someone's home or, but I dig through the reviews. So I'm not going anywhere until I've looked through every single one of the reviews. Then I might reach out to people like, I'll search them up in different forums. Like, let me see this particular company or this photographer or this person. I'll look them up in different forums as well. And just kind of see, are there any other reviews? Because, as a solo traveler, you obviously the biggest piece is safety. Like, you don't want to just show up somewhere and do some class, and before you know it, you're in a dungeon.
Kidneys, dog. Like, what you doing?
Right. Exactly. So yeah, that's my number one Airbnb experiences for photography.
Okay. Man, that's dope. Like I said, I've never heard anybody say that. I mean, it's always been recommended, the tripod thing, but I was like, and I just bought me a tripod probably like a month ago. I haven't really tested it out because it's so, for me,
bulky.
It's bulky, and I'm like, man.
Yes.
And like I said, since I vlog, for my channel, I mean, I'm like, I got my GoPro, I got about 17 batteries in my book bag, I got battery chargers, I got like 3 external battery chargers. I got my cell phone, I got my actual camera, I got different lenses. I kind of don't feel like taking that tripod with me because I'm like, dude, I got enough stuff on my back. Now my back's starting to sweat. Now I'm like, all right, man, I'm ready to go home. So because like I said, I just started this journey back in January. So as far as me carrying all this stuff, I'm not used to that. Normally, I have my camera, cell phone in the pocket. I'm good. That'll last me all day. But now I'm like, okay, I can't think like that, because this is actually for my brand, that I don't want to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon like, ooh, battery low, or ooh, I wish I had an actual better lens I can actually zoom in, because my camera can only go, do so much.
Of course.
I'm trying to think more like a bloggers and influencers and stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to work on now for the last couple of months. But yeah, that's some good tips though. I'm gonna steal all that. So
sure, that's okay. That's why we're here, to share this information. I'm definitely a believer. So, I mean, and other things I've learned from other, like I follow a few travel like influencers and I ask them questions all the time. Like, well, what are you guys doing? Like, how are you navigating? And you'll see for some of them, they're asking the same questions. Like, how are you taking pictures? Because everyone's always looking for creative ways. It seems like there are a lot of tripods. I mean, everyone has a tripod because you just can't trust a stranger always to take the best picture. Like that's the other piece, right? Like everyone just doesn't know how to take the best pictures.
Everybody that has a camera camera don't mean you know how to take pictures. You don't have the right angles. You don't have the, hey man, you cut my feet out, or hey, I kind of wanted the top of that building, but you cut that off. So yeah.
So, but in that, what I've heard from photographers that have other people taking their pictures is they give them proper direction. They will line up the camera. Yep. They will look at the angle. They will know where they need to
look over their shoulder and say, hey man.
Yes, right here. This is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to take this picture. I know it's not obviously the best thing all the time, but sometimes when you're trying to capture those pictures, and these are, countries you might never visit. This might be a scene you'll never see again. You want that best picture. Yeah. That's what you have to do. Like, hey, can you see this right here? You see, I want to be right here. Keep my feet in here. Can you make sure my shirt, do you see any extra on the side? Like, I have a whole bunch of things.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I be telling people, I be like, look, I'm a big dude. I'm a size.
Listen.
Hey, get my good side. I be like, don't have me out here looking crazy, because then I got to fight you. And I'm like, now I didn't ruin your day, you didn't ruin my day.
Listen, that is the key. Those are the things. I'm always trying to do all of that. And then, I mean, the next piece to all of this now is the editing piece, right? So, I don't know, what do you use to edit?
I pay somebody.
Do you?
Yeah, I pay some. And the thing is, I'm actually learning. So, like I said, Ryan, he actually does that for a living. Like, he's in the government and he does that for the government. So he has this master's in whatever the hell it is, photography or multimedia, whatever. So he's like legit with this. So he's actually teaching me, but because of COVID, I haven't really seen him in person like that. But okay. Supposed to be getting together for a couple of maybe 1 weekend out of the next couple of months to be like, look, show me how to do it. And he was actually on the verge of doing. I did my first video last year when I went to Brazil. I took 2 hours of video. I whittled it down to 20 something minutes and just edited it like that, how to throw graphics on there. And he was showing me how to do that because he uses what does he use? Adobe not Illustrator.
Lightroom
and all that stuff like that. So he uses Lightroom. Well, actually, he was using Photoshop, and then he got put onto Lightroom. So he uses a combination of both, but he's very proficient at Photoshop. But Photoshop to me, is a little difficult. It's a little aggressive. I understand Lightroom a lot more better. Like, I can navigate it just a lot easier. So he's actually in the process of showing me that type of stuff. But when it comes to the videos and stuff like that, he's really good at that. But until I get good and whatever, I just pay somebody. I'm like, hey man, it ain't much, as far as I'm concerned, especially for the quality that I'm getting back.
Absolutely. It's worth it. I mean, because otherwise it takes so much time, and time is money these days. Like, obviously the goal is content creation. That's what we're doing out here. That's why we have all of the devices, because we're trying to create this content that we can use for years to come, not just the next 6 months, but be able to take little clips from this and use it later on. And it's so time consuming. That's the one thing that I kind of knew before starting this, in this direction of social media. Like, I knew it was a lot to do, but I didn't realize how it could take me days to edit and create reels sometimes. And it's not worth it, unless you have multiple places to drop it. And that's what I'm learning now. Like, okay, so if you're going to create something, you need to be able to use it on a blog, use it in YouTube, use it in different forums, so that your time isn't wasted on just creating a reel that is just going to go through Instagram and be there, then it just disappears, or just lives on your page. Yeah. So I'm getting I'm understanding it a little bit more. And my goal is to be more intentional on how I capture these photos and having plans for them.
I'm telling you, it is a journey. And
Yes.
So I know earlier, like off camera, we was talking about like, how I got started and all this stuff like that. But like literally, I started my little Travels of Preston, or Travels of My Lifetime LLC. I actually created a business, and I started it last February. And so I've been doing it for a little over a year now. But obviously, I was doing it the wrong way because I didn't know it was this intense. So I'm doing it. I'm like, all right, well, I might run a mill. I think I had like over 1,000 followers. And I'm just, all right, whatever. I post a picture today. I might wait 3 days. I'm like, all right, I just throw that up there. Oh, I throw a hashtag on there. And I'm like, okay. And then, so eventually, like I said, then we started the Adventures with Pictures podcast. And me and my friend was like, oh, we're going to do this and, whatever. And then we like, man, we're not really gaining that many subscribers. So I was like, I have I'm always networking. So where I work at, I'm fortunate to be around people that are into finance, they're into social media. So I just been talking to people, and he was like, yeah, man, I hired a social media consultant. And I was like, social media consultant? That's all they do is consult about social media?
All day.
And he was like, yeah. So he's like, man, I passed you information. So he passed me information. This was literally like August of last year. And he was just like, okay, I looked at your stuff. You're doing it 100% wrong. You're out here wasting time, Bob, which is fine. He was very blunt with it, which is fine with me.
Right.
Because if I'm not doing it right, just tell me. You don't have to shit and be like, well, we maybe. No, bro, just give it to me straight. And that's what he did. So he was like, look, man, we're going to totally rebrand you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I was like, okay, cool. So he's like, we're going to take the next 3 months and build your brand offline before we even drop the first. So technically, I've been doing this since February, but the right way, I've been doing this since January. And so January, I created a whole new Instagram page, which is the Travels of Preston, how I reached out to you. And then I still have my Travels in My Lifetime social media. And that's where I kind of like throw my stuff on, whatever. So I kind of do both, whatever. And then I started my YouTube channel page at the same time, the Travels of Preston and stuff like that. And it's just like, I can see the difference. Like even we rebranded the Adventures with Pictures. Like we totally revamped that. And that started back in February. So we was together for almost since last May doing podcasts. And I think we had like maybe 70 subscribers, maybe 60 subscribers, right? And he's like, man, I think our material is good, but it's not reaching people. So he was telling us like, oh man, you're doing it the wrong way. You're not putting the right hashtags. You're not blah, blah, blah. So we started back in December. I think it was December, end of December. And he was like, look, just stop putting videos. He could say you can still shoot content, but don't put it out yet. So we did that. He revamped it. He changed our YouTube page. He did his little magic. And I'm telling you, like I said, with 2 months, like since February, whatever, we done grew almost, what's that, 40, 50, about 60 subscribers. So
wow.
Now we almost at 130 subscribers in 2 months. And we talk about, me and him was doing our thing, because we're not social media guys. Like I'm old, but I'm like, bro, like I'm not doing TikTok. I'm not, it's like I'm not into that type of stuff. Like I just did my first hashtag last year. I don't hashtag anything. So now it's like, okay, if I'm gonna be in it, I gotta be in it. So now I'm in it. And so that's what the journey has been, this learning about Instagram algorithms, learning about YouTube algorithms. Because I was like, I did not know this. I didn't know when you post something, Instagram is only gonna show it to like 1%, 2% of whatever, and all that time. I did not know all this stuff. So he's been teaching us how to post weekly, what to post daily. Okay, Instagram is really pushing Reels. Reels is really going to get you going, or, IGTV and the right post, the right hashtag. So that's what he's been doing. So that's what we're paying this guy for. And he's actually, everything that he's telling us, he's like, oh, trust the process. He was like, bro, we're going to grow this. And like, so like for me, I'm on both sides of it, because now I'm on the podcast side doing with my friend. which is a lot easier to grow because naturally we have you on the show. So naturally we're just going to assume, oh, because she's probably going to follow our Adventures with Pictures page now, or she's going to follow our Adventures with Pictures podcast YouTube channel, page on YouTube, whatever. But Travel to Preston is just me. So I have to go somewhere. I have to travel because you can't have a travel blog without traveling. So that's why I was like, okay, I got to really start getting out there now. Like, and then people want to see cool things. So like, I just went to St. Louis. Man, nobody knows what St. Louis is. Like, I tried to tell my mom, she was like, St. Louis is beautiful, baby. To you, maybe. But I can't go to France and be like, hey, you know I'm from St. Louis, right? They'd be like, what? I'd be like, oh yeah, St. Louis, man. No, Missouri? Nobody knows who Missouri is. People only know New York. They may know DC because of, the president or whatever. They gonna know California as far as like LA or something like that. So they can recognize certain little, like the Hollywood sign or maybe the Statue of Liberty, things of that nature. But nobody's gonna be like, man, I really love St. Louis, bro. Or I really love, South Dakota. They're like, I don't know what that is. So I say all that to say it is a struggle. It is a journey. Like you said, you just started yours a couple of months that you're like learning stuff every day. Like, okay,
oh, absolutely.
So yeah.
It is. But what I find is, so the more people I start to follow and I see how they drop content, because, everybody's a content creator now, right? Like once you start digging out here, everybody is creating the content that these people are creating. You're like,
yeah.
What, all day? Do you stay home all day to make this? But I recognize that anything that you put out there, regardless of the country or the location, if you put your spin on it to make it interesting, it will be interesting to other people.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like there's a guy that I follow, Kev, I'll send you his name, but he's always gone to some random places. Like the other day he was in Buffalo and I'm from New York. I'm like,
Buffalo.
It's in Buffalo. But he just found these gems. He might have found 2 gems, 2 places that he talked about, maybe a restaurant, maybe another location that was like a museum. And he literally had people like digging into stuff, really excited about visiting these places. So I think it's just the excitement that you put on something, and it's the pictures. People want to see that, Instagram is a visual, what is it? Visual media. So people are looking for those pictures. They want to see the quality. That's how people stop. It's, they say that by the time you can say picture, someone would have passed your feed 1 million times because it's just a visual platform. Platform is the word I was looking for. Visual platform. So people are looking for those things that naturally grab their attention at that moment. How Instagram works with the algorithms and the reels, and now they're pushing people into reels. So in order for your post to get any visibility, you need to be in that real world. Whereas before it was stories.
Yeah.
And it really, I applaud you for getting a social media manager or someone to help you with this, because it is so much to learn, especially when you have like a job.
Yeah.
Like,
3 hours a week.
it's like, like other things that you're doing. What I find with a lot of the content creators that I'm meeting, they're younger. And this is all they do. They're used to posting pictures of their food or of whatever, like a cup of coffee.
That I order this, like, that's my mentality because I'm a little older. But like, you're exactly right. Like I said, like I told my wife actually, and she's actually on board. I told her, I said, babe, I started this business a year ago. Like I got a tax ID, got all that. I was like, I'm thinking about actually doing this full time because I actually want to be a full-time creator or YouTube or whatever the case may be. Because I'm just not happy just going to work, sitting at a computer, typing up reports, briefing somebody. I'd be like, I really don't even want to be here. You luckily you getting this report,
Yes.
So, and I make great money, but I was like, it's not about the money. It's about my happiness at this point. It's like traveling is really what makes me happy. Talking to new people. Like I look at it like this. I'd have never met you. Obviously we're in the same region. But if there was no COVID, was no nothing, I probably still would not run into you. And if I did, I damn sure would probably not going to just walk up to you. Hey, what's going on with you? So I say that to say, like, that's why I started this whole journey, was just to make the world smaller. but it just gives us an opportunity because it's social media to talk to strangers that you wouldn't normally meet. Like for example, yesterday, I interviewed a woman from South Africa. I ain't never been to South Africa, but I interviewed her and she was wonderful. I talked to her. I've interviewed people from Israel. I mean, it's just an amazing feeling just to talk to other people that are like-minded, doing something positive. Because to me, all this is positive. You know,
Absolutely.
just showing different cultures to different people and just making stuff, you know, just making the world smaller. So I actually enjoy this. It gives me, like today, man, we didn't laugh so many times. I'm like, man, I'm having fun. Now I'm thinking, damn, I gotta go work tomorrow. You know, it's like, I got put up with this person that like I really don't even like. They don't even know it. You know, so
it's true.
But yeah, like I said, like I told my wife, I was like, yo, babe, I'm thinking by the end of this year, I'm about to just come on home because I told her the people, and I get to my question a little later, but one of the things I found doing this podcast, most of the people that I'm talking to are full-time travelers. Like somehow, some way, like that's all they do. And I'm like, so they're full-time travelers, and I look at their page or their YouTube channel, I'd be like, man, they got so many subscribers or they got so many followers because they have the time to edit. I have time to just push content. And I'm like, shit, I'm at work 8 hours a day. Then I got to go to sleep. Then I got a family. Then I got, how many hours can I give to my own little projects? Then I still want to travel. Then I got to make time for the podcast. So, you know, if I want to do something, I'm just like this. And then, like I said, with the pandemic, it really showed me life is short. And, you know, yes, millions of people pass away that didn't think they was going to pass away. And I mean, I had people at my job pass away, you know. So I definitely want to enjoy my life, you know. Like I want to enjoy my life, what makes me happy, you know, all within reason. I'm not gonna be like, all right, family, hope y'all like ramen, you know. So that's what we all, you know. So, but you know, like I said, I'm fortunate enough to where I have like a financial manager, advisor, and things of that nature. So once I do my budget, it calculates out. All right, babe, full-time traveler, I quit. You know, so that type of deal, whatever.
Right.
But,
Right.
So hopefully, like I said, this pans out for me or whatever. If not, I told my wife, just give me a
It
year.
will.
I was like, give me a year and doing this completely seriously, where my goal is to do everything in-house. It's going to be Preston's social media, whatever world. When I'm editing pictures, I'm editing, you know, the video, I'm doing the whole 9 yards. So that's, you know, that's what I said. That's what I'm learning right now. So, because I don't want to.
I think that it's great. Well, no, I think that it's great. And I'm finding a lot more people that have these passions because I don't want to say because of COVID, but COVID opens our eyes to a lot of things that we didn't have the time or we never really paid attention to before. Mm-hmm. And to your point, those things are like that passion, like doing the things that we are passionate about and how can I do more of that? And I mean, I am definitely in the same exact boat. The difference would be that I actually left my job during COVID because I was like, this is too much. This is too much. Like, I'm too old for this. You know, like, you know, same thing. Like you get to that point where you max out. Now, of course, to your point, like there was a plan in place. Like I knew that I was getting to that point. I knew that it was coming where I was just like, know how much longer, you know, don't know how much longer I'm gonna take. And, you know, you recognize that you have to start making those decisions for yourself. Like what kinds of things will, what are those things that I'm passionate about that I don't even care if I'm doing it 60 hours or 80 hours a week? What are those things that I want to do for myself? And what is the legacy that I want to leave behind for my kids? Do I want them to see me going to this job every week and hating this job? Like obviously you make great money, but is that all it's about? And I think again, COVID really opened my eyes to that's not all it's about. Like it's not about just the money. You can have all the money in the world and still be unhappy, and we know that. But when something happens, and I believe this is all God, like he's like, look, I need y'all to slow down.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, I need y'all to slow down. Everybody's moving too fast. You guys don't even know what you're doing. You're just doing. We were just doing. And then COVID came, and then you had to really start thinking about it. Like, well, I'm only going to go to the supermarket once this week, or just whatever, wait, we're only going to have one family trip. Are we even going to go anywhere? Am I going to go just see DC? It just makes you become more intentional about the things that you do, which we probably should have been doing in the first place.
Yeah.
But we just got caught up in just keeping up and doing and becoming those robots and doing the things that we thought we needed to do to sustain life. And you realize the more that you are around like-minded people, the more that you understand that, wait, there are people that, like, I'm not crazy, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Like, my passions and my vision are not far-fetched. There are other people out here that are doing similar things. How are they making it work? And that's kind of what I've used my socials to do. Like, I've used that to be the place for myself where I can network with other people that are doing similar things and, getting creative ideas on how to do things better, or, the same way you would at work, but just really using social media intentionally instead of just dropping pictures out there and hoping that people are going to like it. Like, how do I network with some of these people and, maybe meet up in another country? I've done that. Like, I've met people that, they're just like, oh my gosh, da 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 da, I'm in this area. We might meet up for drinks, It's just that's kind of how my life has always been. Like, I'm a wanderer. So, I love this. Like, this is what I do. So for me, it was important for me to find that sweet spot for myself. And I'm still branding and developing what that is going to look like for myself. But I know that without a shadow of a doubt, what I was doing was not what it was. But I recognize that everything in life is designed to fill you with certain amounts of skills. Everything is there for a reason. Every single thing, everything that we go through, every place we visited, any relationship you may have had that was good or bad or indifferent, they're all there for a reason. And when you realize that and you take those pieces that you need, somehow it just makes you a better person. Like, you cherish these small things and you're more grateful for these things, and you develop amazing relationships, and you have things like what you put together here, which is amazing. Like you said, making the world smaller, like it's perfect. But also what it does is it inspires other people to do similar things. Like, that's what we're here. That's the big picture. Yeah. Like, though you're making the world smaller, you really are inspiring people to step out and have faith and do something that they want to do and meet other people, or just do one thing. You would be surprised the number of people that are watching what you do. They might not be liking every single thing that you're doing, but that are actually taking inspiration from what you are doing on a daily basis. So I take that, and I hear from people sometimes like, oh my gosh, like, I would have never thought about doing this or visiting here. Like, those are the things I live for inspiring women, inspiring men, whomever, to do those things in life that they feel that they're purposed to do.
Man, like I said, I totally agree with you. I'm enjoying myself 100%. My wife can tell that I'm happy when I'm in this space.
Right.
So she loves it. I was telling her yesterday, I took her out for lunch yesterday, and we was talking, and I was like, I wish we was fortunate enough to where I could do all my travels with her, and we could turn this into a husband and wife travel. Obviously, that's not the most realistic. And it really just comes down to this simple stuff like, do you have the leave dates? I hate that word now. I hate PTO. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I want to go somewhere. You're telling me I only got 6 hours left?
Yes.
Yes. Like, I'm a grown man. You're telling me I can't go. So that's when I started deciding, and I decided this last year. I just haven't fell through with it all the way yet until I get all my ducks in a row. But, when I'm looking like, okay, I want to go over for 2 weeks, man. Like, I think 2 weeks is good to go to, say, Cambodia. But you're telling me I can only go for 5 days because I got to come back to work because somebody else wants to go and leave. I don't care about their leave. I don't care about Preston's leave. So it's like, I got to make that decision, sooner than later, and just pull the trigger and be like, hey, what is more important, your happiness? And like you said, and to your point, I think more of the older generation don't understand it, especially if there haven't been, entrepreneur or like that. Like my father, he looked at me like I was crazy. Like, quit your job. You know, an older black man, he like, quit your job? He's like, are you crazy? So I'm just like, Dad, it's okay. You know?
Yeah. Yep. No, absolutely. You're right. You're right. You have hit the nail on the head, because that's what they are used to. Like, you think about generations prior where they didn't have the opportunities to work. So now it's like, wait, you quit something? Like, you had a job? Do you know that your great grandfather never had, you know? So they'll go down the list of who didn't have and why it is so important for you to work in this dead-end job for the rest of your life. They will tell you, like, this is what you should do. Like, you need this, you need to have your pension, and you have to do this, and you have to do it in a certain way, but not realizing that that's not the way of the world anymore. Like, you know, it's just not. And the younger generation, they see it, and it's scary.
I'm sitting there like, damn, how did I skip my generation? I'm like, what happened? You know, and I love it to the point where, like I said, I want to be part of that way of thinking. And then, you know, like I said, for the longest, it was my parents always taught me, you know, get an education, get a job, support your family, save and die. I mean, that's essentially 50 years of, you know, from 15 to, you know, whenever you retire and die, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, that just sounds miserable. You know, I don't like that, you know? So now I'm like, man, I seen how easy it was to start my own business. I took like I said, I'm fortunate that I have certain resources that I'm able to tap into because I am a veteran, that I took a small business class that was for free. It was like a 2-3 day seminar. So I was actually seeing how you create a business, how you ask for a loan, how you try to get a grant, you know, things of that nature. So I see all that. And then like I said, I'm fortunate to be around people that make 6 figures, and they like, yo, this is the key. This is how you get into stocks. This is how you invest. This is how you get into real estate. So, you know, since I'm around those type of people, I see different avenues of getting residual income or passive income and stuff like that. And that's stuff that I try to pass to my kids to be like, hey, you don't have to go to college. Like, you really don't have to go to college anymore. It's just because the society is not built that way. Now, if you want to go to college, that's fine. But I'm like, you can literally work for yourself. You can go get a trade. You can get whatever. I'm like, there's so many different ways to support yourself. You just can't let stuff spiral out of control. Like, debt. Like, I learned a couple of years ago, I don't need to make $300,000 a year. Like, because I don't live a $300,000 like, you know, lifestyle. As long as I live within my budget, I can make $100,000 and live just as great as somebody that makes $200,000. So that's what started giving me the courage to say I can quit a 6-figure job and walk away from it, because I don't live a 6-figure lifestyle. Like, I don't buy Gucci, and I'm not knocking anybody that does it, but I don't buy, you know, the craziest name brand stuff. I'm not gonna sit there and say I make $100,000, but I'm gonna drive a $75,000 car. Like, that's ignorance to me, just to me.
No, totally, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why I can say at this point in my life, I don't have any bills. Like, I don't have any credit card debt. I don't have any, you know, anything outstanding. So this is the perfect time for me to chase
travel, and yes, and to chase the dream.
So that's,
and make it a reality. Really, that's really what it is. How do we create these passions and make them reality instead of this thing that we keep thinking about? Like, the one thing I learned, or I said to myself during COVID was, I don't want to live that life where the life of regret, right? I wish I would have done, like, you know, life is, it is what it is, and it can be as long or as short as you think it is. But I recognize that for me, I didn't want it to be one of those things where I worked for someone else, helping them to fulfill their dreams on a daily basis. Like, what about my dreams? Like, what about the things that are important to us? And if we learned anything in this last year, just again with COVID and the racial injustice and the tension and all these things that have happened, you recognize quick, like, oh, they don't care about me. Like, you quickly, and you knew that, right? But you always need a little reminder sometimes.
You be reminded. I'll be like, all right, you want to get it together. And I'm like, all right, now refocus. I'm like, oh, I see this now. So
Yes.
that's why, like I said, it's a reality for me. And we're both doing this, we're both in the same space. So like I said, I'm just, especially when I see a Black person traveling, it just warms me up. I'm like, oh yes, they traveling. Cause I can't stand when I meet somebody, they be like, why you want to go over there? To me, why? Like,
Why not? Right. Why
I can't stand that question. That's probably one of the most things that gets me the most fired up and most irritated when somebody say, why you want to go to Iceland or why you want to go over there? I'd be like, bro, like, don't you get tired of going to DC? Like, like you want to, like, you'll spend all this money in the club, 50, 70, 80, bro, that is a plane ticket. Depending on what time of the year or whatever you fly, you can go to New York, man. Like, go to New York and go to the club up there if you feel the need to go to a club. But I'm like, absolutely, do something, man. Get out of your comfort zone. So, that's, like I said, this has been a wonderful experience, and obviously it's been for you too, because you're having a time of your life.
I am, but I would love to do it more. It's difficult, just try, but I'm just taking what I can from it, like the time that I'm granted, that my husband will allow me to be out in these streets,
right.
Without him or, my daughter,
So it's so funny because it's funny how you said it, because I came back from New York literally like last weekend, right? And I came back from work and I was like, no, of course not work, but from New York. And I went to work. I came home that night. I was like, babe, I think I want to go to California next week. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to California. I was like, the job don't even know it yet. I'm about to be like, hey, check this out. I'm going to New York. I'm going to California, whatever. So now I'm going to California actually this week coming up for like 5 days. And but like I said, when you have a significant other, they definitely have to be on board. And my wife is on board. She's drinking the Kool-Aid, and she's like, hey, I see that you're trying to do this. I see the time, the effort, the money, and the passion that you're putting into it. So she's always been, like I said, like my number one supporter. She's the only reason why I'm even doing all this, because she's the one that was like, you should do it because you've been to like all these places and experienced all these things. So I was like, oh, okay. So now that she pushed me that way, now I'm like, okay, now, and mentally I'm like, maybe I can do this,
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I have done some dope things, like I said, before I'm a little upset because I didn't take it serious. Like, not say take it serious. Before all this happened last year, I would just take a picture. I'd be that joint like, all right, we good. All right, we good with that one. And then now, when I look at my pictures, I'd be like,
I know, because you knew you had so much content, didn't you? You just knew.
I'm talking about living in Europe for 3 years. I just imagine where I would be at, creating, wise, if I started this journey back then. Living in Europe for 3 years. I mean, you got to understand the places that I've been. Of course. Like just going down the street saying, all right, man, I'm gonna go to Frankfurt. Hey, man, I'm gonna go to Munich this weekend. All right, man, I'm just gonna be in Berlin. I don't have any videos of those 3 years. I got the most raggediest pictures that you could ever see in life. And I just be like, and I can't get that time back. So that's why now I'm bringing 17 different lenses. I got the camera. I got everything going, so, missed opportunities, whatever. But like I said,
no, it's not a missed opportunity. I don't think. I think that you've learned through that time, but those are still experiences that live in you. So you can blog about those experiences. Yeah. You can use somebody else's footage, really, somebody else's, because they're still your experiences. You can talk about some of these places. I'm like, word. So how far is it? Like whatever is relevant to the people now. What I find in social media is that now people are looking for information, like people are now craving information. That could just be the COVID age of, well, I didn't have anything to do. So instead of just seeing pictures, I actually want to read about something or learn about something. So you have that something to share. You may not have the digital proof the way you would want it, the content the way you would want it, but you have experiences that still live in you that you can share with others. And I think you should. Like, you have the podcast, like talk about these things, find random images. Oh, I went there. That's a picture of the Coliseum. Doesn't have to be yours. you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I did start a blog. I have my own website. Like I said, I'm fully immersed in this.
Like, I'm doing it. It's a lot though. Yeah. I'm gonna have to ping you. I'm gonna have to ping you offline because I'm gonna need some guidance.
Yeah, like, I'm talking about like I mean, like, we can talk offline, but it's been a journey. So, but yeah, like I said, man, this is like actually I'm having so much fun talking to you. I know we can't talk forever, but like this is the longest podcast of Adventures with Pictures, and it's been so dope to me. And I really do hope that people enjoy this because I had other questions, but I'm like, man, we already been a couple of hours, and my wife is like.
Like, what? Who are you talking to?
Like, when is family time? It's Sunday, so yeah. So but yeah, like I said, I do want to end something like this. So every episode we do rapid fire questions, and you pretty much hit all of them, but this time we're just gonna do it in question form, where you just gotta pick A or B.
Okay.
And it's just 10 questions. All right.
Okay.
All right, so the first one is luxury or budget.
A, luxury.
Okay. Train or plane?
Plane.
Hostel or hotel?
Hotel.
City or beach?
City.
Desert or tropical?
Desert.
Oh, man, nobody picks desert. You messed me up. I was like, oh, okay. Cold or hot destination?
Hot.
Off the beaten path or organized excursion?
I love off the beaten path.
Okay.
Because I can organize off the beaten path.
Don't need to be in a box, but it's kind of off the beaten path. Got it. Okay. Photo or video?
Photo.
Okay. Solo or group?
Solo.
All right, last one is fast food or dining in? And what I mean by fast food, not like McDonald's, but like, like street
food.
Yeah.
I'm a street food girl.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, you from New York. Yeah. So it's I got it.
Just pop my activating charcoal is always in my bag. You just never know what can happen out here in the street.
I've been
it's true.
Ooh, I shouldn't have done that. Or I'd be like,
yeah, that can mess up your whole trip.
Yeah, you'd be like,
no, I'll take one of those before I go ahead and venture out to any of these little vendors. I do. You have to.
FDA approved. Like, did you put enough heat to this? Like,
Right. You never know. And that's the beauty of exploring and being out in these countries. You don't know. Things look so good. You want to try it, but our systems aren't all built the same.
It's definitely not created equally because I think, like I said, we went to Egypt. All of us got sick, just at different times. And I was like, but I'm like, we out in the sun. I mean, we went during the summer. With July.
Yeah.
So now you got the bubblies. It's 900 degrees. Like,
yes.
Check this out. We're gonna have
miserable.
We're about to time out. We're gonna have to reset. So, but yeah, like I said, we had a blast there, or whatever. But like I said, before we get out of here, I want to make sure everybody knows how to see all your social media content.
Sure. So currently I'm only on Instagram and I am at the wanderlusting mom. So that's THEWANDERLUSTING mom. The wanderlusting mom on Instagram.
Oh yeah, we definitely need to get you on other platforms because I feel like, especially.
So I have a website that I'm building and I'm on Facebook, but it's just I haven't built out those social media elements yet, and it's just me. And you kind of like what you said, when you're trying to develop content, you're taking pictures and you're doing video and you're doing all these things in different countries, then you have to put that content out. And then you have to do it within a timely manner-ish, kind of. Especially
like 6 years later. All right, here's this.
7 years exactly.
Like,
exactly. So I just have to, so just this week, that's why I said I need to get with you on the side with some other stuff. But just this week, I set up a website. So I do have the Wanderlusting Mom website to start blogging and start putting out other content, because I'm kind of already doing that on Instagram. But it's just, I just need to add a little bit more and then put that in a different format. And we spoke about that earlier, being able to use whatever you're already creating, add a little bit more and put it on a different platform. So I'm working on those things now. But again, as this mom and actively involved in all these things, it's and still trying to plan trips. It's a lot.
That's your content.
It's a lot.
You know?
Yes. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get with you, because I have some questions about some of the other things that you mentioned. But for sure, I need to get on other platforms. Again, this is 2 months in. I'm just starting this 2 months ago.
You're well ahead of the curve. Like, this took me a year to really get stuff going. So I mean, I can give you some tips, like I said, like offline or whatever. But yeah, like I said, it's a journey, and I'm glad that you're going through it, and hopefully it goes a little bit smoother than what it went for me. Like I said, it's just learning. That's how you learn, by networking. Absolutely. And feeling like, oh, that's where you messed up at. All right, let me detour around that, that speed bump. So yeah, I totally agree with it. And like I said, I want to say from Visual Pictures, Travels of Preston, myself, of course, from Ryan, we really do appreciate you coming on our show. And, like I said, especially with you DMV area, like I was telling my friend Ryan, we had a meeting the other day, and I was like, man, we need to start collabing with local DMV people, man, because, I feel like the DMV got, especially, there's a lot of Black people here. So I definitely want to cultivate this. And he's a Black photographer. He got his own photography business. I'm a YouTuber, and I got my stuff going. You got your stuff going, and I just want to get people involved. Like, look, man, like, can we grow this together? Let's go.
Oh, we can. Absolutely. I'm all for it. I mean, I've met, and I'm partnering with a lot of travel influencers in the DMV, and they have stories to tell. So I can then pass them on to you for your shows. Oh, yeah. And, as we're looking for pictures, because that's my life. So y'all got everything I need right here.
Hey, I'm telling you, we do. I've been telling Ryan, I say, Ryan, this is what you do, bro. Like, how to edit, and I say, it's always, look at this. I'm paying somebody to edit my videos, edit the podcast. I'm paying somebody for that, right. For the pretty much the time of doing it. Besides just the knowledge of how to do it. But I was like, look, bro, you do the same thing. He has a full-time job. That's the reason why he can't edit our videos. It's not that he don't know how to do it, just the time, So that's one of the things I told him. I said, look, man, you know what you're doing. You can put your talents out there, and you can edit other people's stuff, or, try to get more gigs in the local area just to build your brand, build your name, So I'm really on his back. I wish he was on the show right now, because I'll be on his back.
Tell him I said, I'm gonna need him we need to partner. I got a good couple of travel influencers that need some work out here. So we on it. Like, it's funny, because I was looking for a photographer. I know a few, but I wanted someone to capture some dope shots in the DC area that I wouldn't normally do, because I don't do local like that. But we gotta get together offline for sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Like I said, and like I said, my wife, I was telling her, because I think she already follows you, already. But if not, she definitely gonna be doing it after this. But because I was asking, I said, hey, you want to sit on the podcast today, and like not really be on camera, but just kind of hear the dialogue. And she's like, oh man, I'm tired. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I was like, I'm going.
Do the playback edited version. She gonna be like, you sat there and talked for 3 hours. Or whatever, however long it's been, I don't even know.
That's what it's about, So
it is.
But like I said, once again, I want to appreciate.
Of course, thank you.
And like I said, this episode is probably gonna come out in a couple of weeks, and definitely gonna give you everything so you can push it on your social media, and so your fans can see, get a insight, on your lifestyle and what you bring to the table. And anytime you want to come on the show to promote anything, I don't care what it is. How you said you and your daughter, y'all do like the school thing, y'all go down there and y'all teach, kids stuff, or you bring, supplies, anything. I don't care what it is. You can always come on this platform and just say, hey.
Oh, thank you.
And that's why I tell everybody that. I'm like, hey, if you got something going on, I don't care what it is, come on the show. You can talk about it. You say you take a trip somewhere and you want to talk about this trip. Hey, you come on the show and talk about your trip because the show is not for me or for Ryan. It's for us to meet other people. And then like I said, the questions for them is to like, hey, how do you travel? Who are you? What platforms can people reach you? So it's about the other person. It's not about us. So that's why we started it, like I said. So anytime.
This is amazing.
It don't matter how many times. You can come on once a month. You can come on once every month. I don't care. Like I said, the conversation was so dope. And I know Ryan, he will definitely enjoy the conversation with you because I told him I was going to call him later on today to let him know how everything went today. So I'm definitely going to tell him about you. And he's definitely going to start following you. So, yeah, any type of help you need, just like I said, just hit us up. And we'll
Same here.
Help you out. So
absolutely. No, this isn't the last that you've heard from me. We got some work to do. We got some work to do.
Appreciate it.
We got some work to do.
This is Preston signing off from Ventures with Pictures, and we have the lovely Michelle, the wanderlust mom. And till next time, all right, guys, peace.
Bye.